Birthday cake Oreos, cheesecake, lots of chocolate, lots of whipped cream. This one is going to be a hit for today's birthday. Okay, watch the rest of the video so you can see exactly how I made this one. Let's go, let's bake. Okay, so 3, 6, 9, 12 for the inside, 6, 12, 18, 30, 32 for the inside, perfect. So we've got to chop these. Now I've learned the Oreo cake here, we need smaller chunks to go inside. The bigger the chunk of Oreo, the more chance there is of the cheesecake cracking and getting those craters in there that we don't want. So I'm going to go a little bit smaller than I have in the past to try and minimize the amount of craters and cracks. And we certainly don't need all of these for the interior, but I know people love getting the chunks of Oreo on the inside. Now, if I don't put them all on the inside of the cake, I am going to put some on top. So that is why I'm chopping these right now. So that way I don't need to chop again, saving time. And let's face it, chunks of Oreo on top of the cake always look fantastic. A couple more. Good. And I am going to give those another little chop too. We got some separation here. Some of the cookie is getting away from the filling. I don't want that. I've actually never tried a birthday cake Oreo cookie before. So there we go. Now, a little rough chop. Those chunks a little bit smaller. A little bit here, this way. Okay, let's get that in a bowl. I have my normal pastry, but that's okay. We're gonna get by with this big guy right here. Big guy. We need our Oreos. Okay, this is always fun, cracking up the Oreos. Oreos in. So as I say, we have 32. I believe there are 32. More Oreos. We're not done. More Oreo, more Oreo, more Oreo. Okay, hopefully that's enough Oreos. In we go, lock it in. We're gonna pulse it first. It doesn't take much right here. A few turns. You take a look, see how that is inside. Just a touch more, and they smell good. Perfect. I'll bring you in so you can see what it's like on the inside. Right here, you'll see them in a second, but check it out. That's what we're like on the inside for our Oreo, right there. You can see exactly how those look. Okay. Good. First thing we do is get rid of the power. Then we can unlatch and move. Going to our crust first. So Oreo crumble, look at that. It smells nice. It really smells nice. The crust. Now I have a half a cup of melted butter, but a lot of Oreos in there. I may need a little bit more. So we're gonna see how it goes here. We'll get in about half of it to start. Just get a nice mix going. This should turn out like sand, wet sand. The remainder. Hopefully this is enough. If not, I'll melt some more. I think we'll be okay. Butter. So 32 Oreos, half a cup melted butter. Combination is good. The wet sand look and texture that we're going for. Excellent. I have 2 spring form. I'm starting with the small guy, that little wee one right there. Small guy, so we don't need too much in there to get that crust. I'm not going to be going up the sides. Just press it around the edges there, and then I'll firm it up in a second. As mentioned, we're not going too high, so this one won't take much in terms of our crust, but we'll make sure it is all filled up and tucked in, complete. And I'll give you an up close of what that looks like. I'll need a little bit more in there. Oops, we can't miss any. We don't want to lose any of it. Okay, pack it down nice. So make sure it's a little bit easier removing it from the spring form later on. A little broken cup works wonders in this. Nice, packed in nicely, firmly. So that's how it looks like inside. If you couldn't see that before, hopefully you can now. There is the big guy. Be able to use the rest. I'm not using parchment paper in there today. I'm having faith in my spring form that it'll pop out nicely. I've been having success lately, so we're gonna keep going. I should mention as well, I've got the oven preheating already to 350 degrees. Press. Starting in the center always, pushing out towards the sides. Remember, I want to pack it in nice. The crust will come maybe halfway up the springform pan here. Start twisting out to the sides and then up the side. And then we always finish off with the bottom and the corners. That way we know the crust is good. Halfway up the side to start. And if we need to fix anything, we certainly can do that. See how that's just molding nicely? And now I'll firm it up with my spoon. Once I know everything is good, I'm happy with the look and knowing that everything is relatively even. I like the look. So now I'll bring in my spoon. Make sure the corners are nice and packed. They are, they're looking good. And now I'll just make sure the side is nice. Oh, crumbling a little bit. That just means it wasn't packed firmly on the sides, which is okay. So I'm going to go around the top, smooth that out, packs it down a little bit more. Nice. So that's how the big guy looks too. Beauty. It's ready to go in the oven. Big guy. We've got little guy in the oven. 10 minutes only. Set the timer. Okay, so as per usual, we start off with 3 blocks of cream cheese. 1, 2, 3. Now those should all be at room temperature, okay? So you take it out a couple of hours before you're gonna start baking, or you put it in the microwave. And just for pulsing 30 seconds at a time. Okay, we'll lock it in and get started up. We'll whip that up, low speed, medium low speed. We will lower the speed down just to a stir. And I'm going to slowly add, I've got 3/4 of a cup of white sugar. And don't worry about the ingredients and the recipes. I'm going to have all those in the description for you. And I also have 1/4 of a cup of brown sugar. Add that in. And now we can bring the speed up again. Now, what I'm going to do is pause, and then I'm just going to scrape the sides and the bottom, along with the paddle, to make sure all of the cream cheese is incorporated properly, and we try and minimize the lumps that may or may not come out in the cheesecake, okay? So we need to do this 2 to 3 times throughout the process. Once we've got it, lock it in, speed on. 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract in. I am going to stop this one and lift it up to put in the sour cream. This is quite a big bowl I have. So it's 4 tablespoons, and I mean heaping tablespoons of sour cream. Now I also do recipes where I use Greek yogurt in the cheesecake recipe instead of sour cream. It adds a really good texture. A little bit extra protein never hurts. Lock it in. It looks so creamy, but wait until we add in the eggs. That's a pinch of salt, okay? So it's less than a teaspoon, might be a half a teaspoon. I'm not even using all of it, okay? Pinch of salt, boom. And I have 2 tablespoons of flour. All purpose is fine. If you want to pass it through your sieve, you can also do that. So at this point, I can see there are 5 minutes left on the timer for the crust that's in the oven. which is great because this has also been going for 5 minutes and 30 seconds. So we're on track. The last ingredient that we're going to be adding in are eggs. So I have 3 whole eggs and I'm going to use 1 egg yolk. That's going to give us a really nice creamy texture. What I've done, because the eggs were not at room temperature, I added them into my bowl, as you can see here, and I added in some warm to hot water to bring them up. So they've been in that for about 20 minutes, so they'll be fine. They're not going to be cooked, don't worry about that. So I will lower the speed down to a stir, and I'll start with 1 egg. I'm going to try and scoop it in here. I may have to pause the machine. We made 1, but it's not about 1. We've got 4. 1 at a time though, and we can bring the speed up. Once that egg is nice and incorporated, then we can move on to egg number 2. So far so good, no shells. So number 3. There we go, 3 for 3 on the eggs. You can see 1 nice yolk in. That's it for our ingredients. I've got 2 minutes until the crust is done. And give it 1 more scrape from the sides. And the bottom, let's not forget that bottom. Get in there as best we can. Make sure everything's removed. And then also from the paddle. Have some flour on there. We want to get that incorporated. Get everything incorporated. Lock it in, and our last stir. Done. And now we'll let that drip for a moment. Beautiful. You see how that just got all that much more creamier? Beautiful. Let's scrape all this goodness into the bowl. I think she's gonna have a great birthday with this one. Wait till you see the way that I'm gonna decorate this one. I've already got the visual of what I want to do. Here are the crusts. So check this out. I'll hold them up so you can get a better vantage point of view here. So that's the little guy. It smells so delicious. And this, of course, is the bigger crust right in here. So I will start filling with the small one first, just to make sure I have enough. With the small one, it doesn't need much. Remember, we're not filling to the top because it's going to bubble up. And once it bubbles up and rises a little bit, we don't want it to go over. So we'll go about there, just a touch more. Just a touch more to allow some room. I do want to have a cheesecake though that is big and plentiful there. Okay, that should be good. So I've left about a ½ an inch. Okay, and now we'll come into the center. I want to make sure you guys can see this. In fact, why don't we rotate that. Now I'm going to put in approximately half of the batter that I have remaining. So about there. I'm going to spread around. So this is going to almost take us to the base of the crust. Okay, excellent. Because we can't forget our Oreo chunks. Be generous, and if we get some cracks or craters in the cheesecake, so be it. We need chunks of Oreo in there, and then we're gonna have this remaining for the decoration afterwards. Okay, the remainder of our batter. I start on the outside as opposed to the center. I found when I start in the center, it pushes all of the Oreo chunks out to the sides, so I circumvented. Start at the sides, finish in the center, and the Oreo chunks, you can't get me like that. It's still going to be smooth relative. Okay. And now do the swirl. This is also going to help spread a few of those cream cheese chunks around. See how those Oreos are popping up? That's what I don't want, because that leads to potential cracks and craters in the cheesecake. But because I'm going to be covering this one up on top, it's not the end of the world. Okay, tap. Okay, tap. Okay, in we go. Now, I'm not using a steamer today. I'm not using a double boiler. just like so. Now, normally 37 minutes for this cheesecake. The small one, I've got to keep an eye on it. I'm gonna set the timer 25 minutes for that one, and that's it because it's so tiny. 25 minutes, I'll remove the little guy. I'll go the extra 12 for the big guy. Check. Oh yeah, perfect timing. I've got to take that little guy out. 25. 25 for the little guy. Whoa. Check it out. That's 37 minutes. Perfect. Look at that. Look at that. Right there, there are no cracks. It's still just a little bit jiggly. You can see that. A little bit jiggly. Okay, it's the morning after. Cheesecake all baked up in the fridge overnight, so everything's firmed up. So check this out. I'll bring you in closer for another look. That's the little guy, a little mini cheesecake. This one turned out nice. No cracks, really. You can see that right there. See? Now, this one, unfortunately, again, I think the chunks of Oreo did us in, but check this one out right here. There's a few cracks, maybe a crater, but we're gonna fix this up because it's getting some nice melted chocolate. Melt it, add some cream, thicken it up a little bit, add the layer of chocolate back in the fridge for a few minutes just to let it firm up a touch. Then I've got some nice, thick, rich, sweet whipping cream that I'm gonna add on top, some sprinkles, some crushed Oreos, make this one look fantastic, and then hopefully it tastes just as good as it's gonna look. Okay, I'll bring you in. Okay, so chocolate melted, but it's hot. It's hot. I'm gonna add a little bit of cream. Maybe a couple of teaspoons. One. I've got to use more of those Mr. Beast Feastables. Look at that. Nice, rich, thick. Look, oh, it's gonna go beautifully on that cake. Let's see how this turned out. It's not sticking, so that's a good start, I believe. Yes. Nice. So this is exactly what I wanted. Check this out. You can see the contrast of the Oreo crust coming up about halfway and then the cheesecake. So I wanted the crust and the contrast together. Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. As I say, we were trying for some wavy lines. This one could have been just a touch higher, but that's okay. Overall, I think that looks beautiful with regards to our crust. So now we've got to pop it out of that spring form. So let's hope this one pops out because I did not use parchment paper here. So far looks good. Coming off fairly clean. Yep, I'll have to slide under. Okay, looks good. So here we go, moment of truth. Got to be very careful here. We bring that off, we replace, and then we look to slide, pop and slide. Let's see here. Good. Gotta get right under that. There we go. Just a little starter. There we go. And now slide, slide, slide. There we go. Done. So it made it. Look at that. Beauty. Chocolate. Start with those cracks and the crater right in the center to make sure they're going to get their fair share. I'm going to leave just a touch for the little guy. Okay, now we're going to spread. So now I'm going to put the cheesecake back in the fridge for about 10 minutes. Just let that chocolate harden up a touch so I can finish it off with all the decorations. In the meantime, I'm going to do a little mini one. Let's go. Off. Whoa, that was a loud crash. Crisis averted. Birthday cake, Oreo cheesecake.